back. Episode 9 of the Chalk Talk podcast. I'm your host, Tony.
And Nick.
And today's the Belmont recap. What you saw yesterday, Nick?
Well, it played out exactly like we thought it was. The favorites are going to be up there at the end.
Sovereignty and journalism.
Yeah, fought till the end.
I thought it was a pretty quick pace for Rodriguez.
Yeah, took the lead. Him and Crudo ran out and
Crudo gave
set the
his little
pace for everybody else. I think it threw journalism a little off. Everyone took off so fast.
guess Rodriguez's little foot could run, right?
Yeah, he did better than Crudo. Crudo ended up coming in last.
Crudo faded.
He faded.
Hills Road nowhere to show up.
Yep.
Heart of Honor, like we said, wasn't gonna have a
Laid
chance. Uncaged, like we said.
Uncaged ran up there for a bit, maybe a furlong or two, and then quit on him.
Yeah, and basically, let's show the guys, let's show the
Let's do it.
audience the results first, or should we do the video?
No, show the video. Show the video, and then
Going
we'll
with the
spoil
video.
the surprise for anyone that didn't watch it.
And this is the Belmont Stakes, guys. Once again, it was ran at Saratoga because Belmont's having some renovations.
Next
So
year.
it was ran at a mile and a quarter, not a mile and a half like it usually does. Loading, small field, but great field, right, Nicholas?
Yes.
They're saying, and they're off. They're saying that
off.
Heart of Honor wasn't taken by a pony. He was actually trotted to the gate by a person.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they said that's a UK thing yesterday in the broadcaster. They showed that part. Yeah, and I usually look
There
at
you go.
Rodriguez breaks for the lead. You have Crudo on the
And Crudo.
outside, the guy that you said was gonna tire Rodriguez. What happened there, Nicholas?
Well, look at journalism's already running up there. I don't think that's his style. That's not the.
You think that the front two runners had a big play on it?
Yes, I think they set the pace. Like I said, they were the rabbits.
You think journalism basically said, okay, I can't let these guys get away. If not, I won't be able to catch them?
Yeah, and then even Sovereignty's up there running with them. He's stalking right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Usually
he's
we see
more up
Sovereignty
than,
drop back.
yeah, he's more up than what I expected. Both journalism and sovereignty are in a position that I literally thought it was going to be Uncaged and Heart of Honor up there, honestly. I thought it
Yeah,
was
for
looking that
sure.
way. But I guess not, And Uncaged trying to make a move on the inside. If you see that, Uncaged
Yeah,
is
and
number 4.
Baeza's sticking to his plan, his game plan. He lays back all the time, but this time it didn't work
But
out.
don't you think he was asking for him just a little too soon by Asa? That's an ad. Sorry, guys. Guess we didn't pay for it. Going back to the broadcast, as on the turn, we see journalism on the outside, Rodriguez in the inside, Crudo in the middle, and you see Uncaged trying to make a move. But look at Sovereignty,
I think it,
the good
Baeza
old
on the
European
outside.
move. The good old European move. I'm gonna let you run your race, and I'm just gonna run you down. Look at
I'm
that.
gonna let you get, and there they go. Look at
Wasn't
Baeza
even.
now.
It wasn't even close. Look at this. Just
Look
pushes
at Baeza
away
fighting for third.
easily 3-4 lengths ahead of journalism, ahead of Baeza, Rodriguez, followed by Hills Road.
Yep.
We did claim it. I said on paper Sovereignty was not going to lose. You said on paper journalism wasn't going to lose. 1-2, we had them. We
Yeah.
told the audience this was gonna be the results. But on my point of view, my horse was Rodriguez. Once again,
Yeah,
I'm
you could
claiming Rodriguez. That was
cut
my
out
bet to beat the favorites.
you couldn't share.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
once again, my bet was Rodriguez to beat the favorites, but I did play. If you guys watched our Instagram, I did play an exacta. We'll talk about the odds later, but yeah, my pick was Rodriguez, 4th place, better than what I expected. He was on top. I just like I was telling Nick before we started recording, journalism made a early move, which I personally felt caused the whole field to move faster before Rodriguez could have made that move at the stretch. So
Yeah.
I'm not making an excuse for Rodriguez. He did run better than what I expect. There was no issue with his hoof, which is his foot. Great ride, 4th place. I can't ask for him to do more. He is coming back from an injury. He did look like he ran well. Yeah, just for me, Sovereignty. I said it. I have a love and hate thing for him. But he proved me right once again. He has grit, he has power, and he showed it today by beating journalism.
Yeah, he is the better horse. And a lot bigger horse than journalism. He's a
And let
lot.
me tell you this though, I give journalism his credit. He's the only horse to run all three legs.
You're right.
All three
Right.
legs.
That's right.
No rest, no nothing. He had to train for the Kentucky, he had to train for the Preakness, and he had to train for the Belmont. So don't discredit journalism, guys. Great horse as well. Just couldn't keep up with Sovereignty. But also Sovereignty had in his favor that he rested for the Preakness, so he did not have to run his heart out on all three races just like journalism did.
Yeah, I think journalism was just knocked off its regular routine. And when the other two took off, he was like, "What are we doing?" And he kind of, it could have been Rispoli's fault. Rispoli wanted to be up there with them for some odd reason. He wasn't playing his regular game. Usually he lays back. I mean, early in the career, journalism was a front runner or stalker. And
Mm-hmm.
then the later races, if you noticed, that he would lay back and then make his move towards the end.
Yeah.
So he might have been running out of juice towards the end because he got ran by with
Well, you know
Sovereignty.
what I'm surprised though, Nick? That riding the Preakness had me thinking he has a lot of grit too. He opened that space, opened wide, right? And he still was able to close on Gosger.
Yeah,
I was actually surprised he didn't have it in him to go at the wire with
yeah,
Sovereignty. I thought it was gonna be neck and neck and it was gonna be at the wire, but
for sure. I thought it'd be
Sovereignty
a
just
lot closer.
Sovereignty just pulled away, and he did the move, the same move that he did in the Derby. He did it today, yesterday at the Belmont.
Yeah,
And let's not talk about all three races because we're gonna have an individual video on that. But specifically on the Belmont, I'm go ahead and I'm gonna show the audience the payouts, the results, what places these horses came in, and we'll just show them. So basically, Sovereignty first, Journalism second, Baeza third, Rodriguez fourth, Hills Road fifth, Heart of Honor
Art of Honor beat
actually
him
placed
cage.
sixth, which I said was gonna place last, and look at him. He did okay. Uncaged and Crudo.
Yeah,
Surprise part of this was for me, Hills Road and Crudo, two horses that we saw in our analyzer video, and we said, hey, these horses look like they have something to prove, but they're just not on the level of Rodriguez, Baeza, Journalism, and
no,
Sovereign.
not at all.
There's
Not at all.
the top four compared to the bottom four, they're not on the same level, and I can say that respectfully. Great jockeys, but yesterday, we were proven that it doesn't matter if you have good jockeys, on bad horses. It's a fact that horse sovereignty, journalism, Baeza and Rodriguez, they're all top horses.
Yeah, I would
They're
say
all
the
top
top three.
horses. Yeah.
Rodriguez got lucky.
You said he was gonna come in last, my guy. You said he was gonna come in last and
Yeah,
lose to Heart of Honor.
but I don't think he still has the same power as the top three.
Just remember, he did run a furlong more than what he's accustomed to.
Yeah,
He might be a mile horse, so a mile and a quarter, my bad, mile and a quarter was too much for him. I even said a mile and a half was gonna be too much for him. So I think if he would have run in the Preakness, I think it would have been he would have been a contender. He would have been he probably would have been up there with Gosger and stuff, maybe even further. But once again, Rodriguez did prove me wrong. I
yeah.
thought
Proved
he
me
was gonna
wrong
do,
for sure.
you know, for sure you were convincing me that he wasn't the horse, but I still went with him. Rodriguez, for me, came back from an injury and he ran fourth place to the three top contenders from the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah,
Coming back from injury, ran his heart out. I'm good with that. I'm willing to keep that in my itinerary for future bets. Rodriguez, with more rest coming up. We still
yeah,
have the Haskell, we have the Taverns coming up. We have the Breeders' Cup in November. So there's a lot of big races to come, and I am 100% he's going to run on one of the following ones I said. So,
for sure.
but first he would have to qualify. So in order to qualify, you have to run the Pacific Classic, I believe, the Haskell, the Taverns. There's multiple races these horses are going to have to enter to be part of the British Cup Classic if they want to enter, or any British Cup race that's a qualifier.
Yeah.
Going back to the Belmont Stakes, what did you think? that journalism should have done. I know you kind of explained that he was more of a stalker, laid back horse, and in this race he was more up there. But Sovereignty also changed his
Sovereignty
strategy.
was also the fourth. He ran fourth for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Yeah.
fourth, but
So,
I mean, he poured it on towards. As soon as he made that turn, he took off. He was gone.
dude, honestly, got the horse that surprised me the most, honestly, was Crudo. I expected more from him. I
Yeah,
thought
for
he was
sure.
gonna, last longer. The race that we saw that he was a front leader. He wasn't even tested, so I was like, okay, with a stronger field, I think he can prove something. But before the turn, he was already fading. You saw
Yeah.
Rodriguez pull ahead. He started pulling back. Uncaged was trying to come in. You had Baeza pushing hard. So we had multiple horses, man. That we knew that weren't gonna perform, but we gave them a chance.
Yes, for sure. I thought Baeza would do a little bit better, but I think
Especially
it
on,
waited just a little too long. It
especially
waited too
seeing,
long to make its move.
especially seeing how he ran the Derby with a muddy, muddy track, and this track was moist enough for him to make a good run, man.
Yeah, he did what Sovereignty did. He did what Sovereignty did and poured on the speed at the end. And this time he didn't have it. He waited a little too long,
So
just
what
a
you
little
think
too
about?
long.
So let's go to the payouts. We were both talking about this yesterday, and they're horrible payouts. Horrible payouts. We did have the first and second horses, and you could make money on just an exacta and just put all your money on an exacta and go 1-2 with the horses we gave on paper. But I believe these payouts, I have no words for it. 660 for a $1 exacta. Once again, guys, I know we haven't explained the exotics to you guys, and you guys are seeing the money right there, but 660 is not a good payout for a $1 exacta.
No, not at all. Especially not a race like this.
You know,
Yeah, not a top race like this. Usually the payouts are a little more. But that's the problem that you get when you bet the favorites. You can't have favorites come in first, second, and third because even the trifecta is super low.
yeah, trifecta for $1 is 13, and that's really, really low. You would have to, like Nick was telling me, you would have to literally bet more just to come out of pocket or even see some type of profit.
Yep.
The whole point of making this podcast is trying to, get money into your guys' pockets, which if you guys were smart enough, you know, you guys would have put the two favorites in first and just call it a day. Put what, $50? They put $50
Yeah,
box.
you would have had to go that much. Your
Yeah, you
fifty
would have.
dollars would have brought you back 25 times six, six
Pretty much.
sixty.
That's like 125. No, that's 150.
Let's
That'll be
see.
like 150 plus some change. That'll be 150
Calculator
plus
right
some.
here.
So you'll basically three times your money if you guys would have done that. And once again,
$165.
165 for a $50 bet though.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
So that's you're three timing you're three times timesing your money, which some people, as long as they double their money, they're okay with that. But sometimes it's not okay because I made a wager yesterday where I was trying to just play it safe. I played Sovereignty and Rodriguez in front with everybody in the back. That cost me $12. I got $6 back.
Yeah.
So
And
shit.
actually, the $2 were actually the $2 you put in. So you actually came back $4.60 was the total.
Exactly. So there's bets that sometimes, as a handicapper, you'll be like, oh, it's a safe bet just to get some return, but sometimes it's better no return than some return because it's like, really, you really just made $6 out of $12, like. But
Yeah.
that was my mistake yesterday. I was telling Nick, I easily put three horses I shouldn't have. You know,
Yeah, that's another problem with throwing extra horses. They don't have a chance because every time you add another horse, and it doubles your last bet.
exactly. So
So
if
if it
I
was at
would,
$6, by adding one more horse, it went to $12. You would add one more, it would have went to $24. It just keeps adding
yep.
or multiplying, I should say.
No, I completely agree. So there's gonna be a video on that too coming soon. where Nick and I explain the exotics, which are your exactas, trifectas, superfectas, and etc. You know, there's more exotic wagers that we're gonna break down to every one of you, and hopefully you guys join us on this ride. You know, it's easy handicapping, but it's not easy picking the winner. You know,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
you can break down every horse that you want, but
For sure, for
it all
sure.
depends on the weather, how the horse is feeling, how the jockey rides. It's all a mix of everything,
The
you
size
know.
of the field,
Besides the size of the field, so
trainer,
you know,
trainer
enjoy the.
intent. Is the trainer just out there for a public workout, just to get them prepared for the next race?
That's true.
All that.
That's
If you're
true.
not an insider, don't know stuff like that.
It's good. It's pretty hard, but you know the information Nick and I provide is very basic. But as we go, we will get more advanced and have more analyzations for you guys. More
Yeah,
probably
tutorials, how to pick a horse, what to look for.
what to
So
look
that'll be coming
for
up soon.
and how not to bet because I basically did one of those this weekend and I shouldn't have bet the way I bet. Spend more and the outcome was half of what I
Yeah,
invested. So basically, yeah, join us for the ride. This was the Belmont Stakes. Hope you enjoyed this small quick video.
yeah. Quick recap.
Quick recap of the Belmont Stakes. We show you guys the videos. We analyze the payouts. Just don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. We have our YouTube, our Instagram, our Twitter. We're posting most of our videos on YouTube and Instagram. We are going to start trying to move our X, known as Twitter profile, a little bit more. But yeah, guys, our next video for sure is going to be the recap of the whole Triple Crown, which will be
Yeah,
your Kentucky Derby, your Preakness, and your Belmont. Nick and I will go ahead and tell you guys what we liked, what we didn't like, what we thought could have went better, and make a list for you guys of horses of throughout the whole Triple Crown that we think are going to be contenders throughout the year. There's still more racing throughout the year. Yesterday, Citizen Bull race on the card of the Belmont Stakes, not the actual Belmont Stakes, but in the card. So, he didn't do good yesterday. So I would like to do stuff like that where we bring, horses that we like into our podcast.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, guys, like, subscribe. I'm your host, Nick.
And you're
My
Nick.
bad.
You're Tony. I'm Nick.
I'm
Hold on.
Tony. I'm tripping
Hold on.
already. Oh my god, I'm tripping. My bad, guys. I gotta say, I had 2 beers already. It's barely one over here in Texas. I'm tripping. I'm your host, Tony.
And Nick.
And
And we'll see you guys.
yeah, guys, subscribe.
All right.